They say love is eternal, that it transcends time, distance, and even death. But on February 14th, we don't often talk about the darker side of that devotion. We don't talk about the kind of love that refuses to let go. The kind of love that sits in the dark, clutching a bouquet of dead roses, waiting for a heart that stopped beating a century ago. Imagine you've just moved into a charming, Victorian-style home. It's Valentine's Day, you're first in the new house. You're alone, enjoying the silence, until you find a small, handmade card tucked under the floorboard in the hallway. It's beautiful, lace edges, faded red ink, and a poem written in a perfect, flowing script. It's addressed to a woman named Clara. The poem ends with a promise. I will be with you, heart to heart, until the stars go cold. You laugh it off as a romantic relic of the past. But as the clock strikes midnight, the silent screams begin. Not from the street, but from the ceiling above your head. It's a rhythmic, dragging sound, like someone is pulling something heavy across the attic floor directly above your bed. You grab a flashlight and climb the pull-down stairs. The air in the attic is freezing, smelling of dust and something sweet, like rotting lilies. Your light cuts through the dark, landing on a wooden chair in the far corner. It's facing away from you. On the chair, there is a figure. It's a dress, a heavy, silk gown from the 1890s, propped up as if someone is wearing it. Beside it, on a small table, is a box of chocolates. But when you look closer, the chocolates aren't candy. They are human teeth, carefully arranged in the shape of a heart. The dragging sound starts again, but this time, it's behind you. You spin around, but the attic is empty. Then you see it. On the dusty floorboards, a fresh trail has been carved. Not by feet, but by something crawling. This is the legend of the unfinished Valentine. In the history of this house, a man once waited for his bride-to-be to return from a journey. She never did. But he never left. He stayed in this attic, writing cards, carving his love into the very wood of the house, until he became less of a man and more of a permanent fixture of the architecture. You hear a soft, wet whisper right against your ear. It's a man's voice, raspy and desperate. Clara, you're late. You bolt for the stairs, but the attic door slams shut before you can reach it. The nails are rusted, the wood is thick. You're trapped in the dark with a love that has curdled into something monstrous. The most terrifying thing about Valentine's Day isn't being alone. It's the realization that you might not be alone. That someone, or something, has been waiting 100 years for a partner. And tonight, it decided that you look enough like Clara to fill the void. Outside, the world is celebrating romance. But inside these walls, a different kind of ceremony is taking place. A union of the living and the dead. When the sun rises on February 15th, the house will be silent again. The cards will be tucked back under the floorboards. But if you look in the mirror, you might notice your reflection looks a little paler. Your eyes, a little more tired. And on your bedside table, you'll find a single, dead red rose, and a card that simply says, Forever. Happy Valentine's Day. Sleep with your heart guarded. Because some lovers don't want your affection, they want your soul. They say the red string of fate connects those who are destined to be together. But in the darker corners of folklore, there is a different kind of thread. A ribbon not of fate, but of a binding, blood-soaked debt. Imagine waking up on Valentine's morning to find a gift on your doorstep. There's no name on the tag. No card. Just a small, velvet box wrapped in a deep, crimson ribbon. It's beautiful, expensive, and perfectly out of place. Most people would call it a secret admirer. In the world of silent screams, we call it a marking. You open the box. Inside is a silver locket, cold to the touch. When you click it open, you don't find a photo. You find a lock of hair, coarse, black, and smelling faintly of ozone and graveyard soil. You set it on your nightstand, intending to throw it away, but as the sun sets, the house begins to shift. The silence of your bedroom is broken by a sound that shouldn't be there. The sound of a scissors snip. You look at the red ribbon you left on the floor. It isn't lying flat anymore. It's upright, twitching like a decapitated snake. As you watch, the ribbon begins to lengthen, slithering across the carpet toward your bed. You try to move, but your limbs feel like lead. Your voice is caught in your throat, a scream that refuses to break the surface. This is the legend of the Valentine's knot. It's an old superstition from the heart of the Midwest, the idea that if you accept a gift from the unknown on this day, you are unwittingly inviting a silent groom into your life. He doesn't want your love. He wants your skin to patch his own. The ribbon reaches the foot of your bed and begins to climb. It's not just one ribbon now. Hundreds of tiny, red threads are seeping out from under your closet door, weaving together into a web. The room begins to smell of old iron and roses that have been crushed into the dirt. You see a shadow move in the corner of your eye. It's tall, wearing a tattered tuxedo that looks like it was buried and dug back up. He has no face, just a smooth, pale surface where features should be, wrapped tightly in that same red ribbon. He holds a pair of rusted shears, and as he steps into the moonlight, you realize the silver locket on your nightstand is glowing. He isn't here to kill you. Not yet. He's here to measure you. He leans over your bed, the shears hovering inches from your throat. He isn't breathing, but you can hear his heart beating, and it's coming from inside the locket. The silent scream. Here is the realization that you are being claimed. Every time you blink, he's an inch closer. Every time you breathe, the red ribbons tighten around your wrists and ankles, pinning you to the mattress. By the time the clock strikes midnight, the room is a cocoon of crimson. You aren't in your bedroom anymore. You're in his world, a place of eternal February, where the flowers never bloom and the heart only beats to remind you of what you've lost. So, if you find a box on your porch today, don't open it. Don't touch the ribbon. Because some gifts come with a price that your soul can't afford to pay. And some Valentines, they don't want your heart. They want to make sure it never beats for anyone else again. Happy Valentine's Day. Stay tethered to the light. Because once the red ribbon takes hold, the silence is the only thing that remains. They say a photograph steals a piece of your soul. We take them to freeze time, to capture a smile, to remember a face long after the person is gone. But in the world of the silent screams, some photos don't just capture a moment, they create a trap. Imagine it's Valentine's night. You're alone in your apartment, scrolling through old digital memories, when you find a folder you don't remember creating. It's labeled with today's date, but the year is empty. You click it open. Inside is a single, black and white image of yourself. But it wasn't taken by you. In the photo, you are sleeping in the very bed you are sitting on right now. The angle is high, as if someone was standing on a ladder, looking down at you with a predatory gaze. You feel the hair on your neck stand up. You look at the date on the file again. It says it was created 3 minutes ago. You hear the faint, mechanical click whir of a vintage camera coming from the hallway. In the early 1900s, there was a practice called spirit photography, where people tried to capture the faces of the dead in the background of portraits. But there was a darker, unrecorded version of this. It was called the lover's negative. It was believed that if you photographed someone you obsessed over using a lens dipped in your own blood, you wouldn't just have their image, you would have their shadow. You walk toward the hallway, your phone's light trembling in your hand. The air smells of sulfur and old chemicals, the scent of a darkroom. You find a single, wet photograph lying on the floor. It's still developing. You watch as the gray shapes shift and darken under the light. It's another photo of you. But in this one, you aren't alone. Standing right behind you, his hands inches from your throat, is a man with no eyes, just two hollow, black pits. You spin around. The hallway is empty. The silence is so heavy it feels like it's pressing against your eardrums. Then you see it. In the reflection of the framed pictures on the wall, the man is there. He exists only in the glass. He exists only in the capture. The silent scream. Here is the realization that you are being erased, frame by frame. Every time you hear that click, another piece of your physical body fades away, becoming a grainy, gray ghost on a piece of paper. You look down at your hands and realize they are becoming translucent. You can see the floor through your palms. The photographer isn't a ghost. He is a collector. He doesn't want to kill you. He wants to develop you. He wants to keep you in a chemical bath forever, a perfect, silent valentine that never ages, never leaves, and never speaks. As the final click echoes through the house, you find yourself standing in a pitch-black room. The only light is a dull red glow. You see hundreds of photos hanging from lines, all of them of people who disappeared on Valentine's Day over the last century. They are all staring at you. And in the very last photo, the one that's still wet, you see yourself.